Cowboys. Cowboys.
Yeah, boys.
Cowboys. What happened to the Rabbitohs? How good was Perth? Cowboys.
Rabbits are you, mate.
Cowboys. Thought I'd get the drum out for a bit of use, bit of entertainment for the start of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to the podcast, episode number 10. CJ in the live chat, blocking the pay-per-view on all platforms. I love you, CJ. I wish you were in Perth on the weekend, brother. Hope everyone's doing well. Episode number 10 of the Cowboys TV podcast. Hope everyone is doing well. Me and Cullen just getting over the travel from the weekend. CJ's losing it. Oh, I love your mocks. What a weekend it was over there in Perth. Me and Cullen were in attendance. It was a great time. What a game, what a win, what a fantastic time it was. Cullen, how are you feeling from all the travel, which we'll get to very soon?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, absolutely loved Perth. Loved our time together and loved the win.
Yeah, what a win. It was a great win, actually. The Rabbitohs were a tough opponent. I said Cowboys would win by like 14 to 18 points. But then when the Rabbitohs ran out onto the field and were sitting in the Cowboys' bail, I was just thinking to myself, as much as I think we could win this game comfortably, I've got a gut feeling that just sort of just hit me out of nowhere that it was going to be a really tough game of footy. And it was. It was a really, really tough game. It was a gritty game. And normally when it comes to Cowboys and Rabbitohs, when they play each other, they're usually highly entertaining, fairly high-scoring games. You go back to Magic Round last year, the Cowboys were in bad form. I think they were on a 4 or 5 game losing streak. And the Rabbitohs were in the bottom 4 somewhere. They were struggling because they had no coach. I think Demetrio was sacked by that point. And the Rabbitohs were in bad form. The Cowboys were in shocking form. And we ended up winning a high-scoring game, which was fairly entertaining. So you do get some high-scoring games between the Rabbitohs and the Cowboys, but this one was more of a bit of a grind. But I'm just glad we got the win, Cullen, traveling all the way over there.
Yeah, not wrong. Like, we were so bad in our attack, like not in finishing, but in our handling. And I think our defense, there was some, some of them tackles that did, and, forcing errors. And, it was a bit of a grind. The ball was in play for quite a bit at times.
Yeah.
So, I think we just sort of, we dug deep when we had to, and like the best footy is still ahead of us. That's coming out of a win is so good when you can look at your team and go, you know what, we can play so much better than that.
Yeah, no, it was a win that we needed to get, and it didn't really matter how we got it. It was just get it done and get ready for the bye this week, which I think when you look at it, the Cowboys were in Sydney last week against Penrith, and then they stayed in Sydney, and then they went over to Perth on Tuesday, and then it was a game day on Saturday, got the win. So I think the Cowboys are enjoying their little rest, however long. I mean, not sure how many days they get off, but they'll be looking forward to that, that's for sure. If you guys are new around here, don't forget to like the stream and subscribe to the channel. If you guys haven't checked out Cullen's YouTube channel, make sure you do. Cullen's got a vlog up as well from the weekend, so make sure you guys go and check it out. It's fantastic. I had a good watch of it last night and really enjoyed it. I was involved in it a few times myself, but If you haven't checked out Callan's vlog or checked out my vlog, make sure you go and check it out. I want to acknowledge the live chat as always. Hello to Luke, Josh, Jason Reader is here, River, William, what's it, Will Melbourne Storm fan, change his name, CJ Moxley, HB Aviation, everyone that's here. I hope you're doing great. All right, well, we might as well get into it. And also, I want to give a massive shout out to the On the Ranch podcast. The lads over there, Pete and Morgan, and all the boys over there, they've given me a bit of a shout out the last 2 episodes now on their podcast. So shout out to the On the Ranch boys. Love the podcast, boys. Look forward to listening to it every single week, man. Great podcast. I'll tell you something, Callan. When it comes to like traveling to away games, I try to wait until their podcast is out, then listen to it when I'm on the plane, because some of the airlines, Wi-Fi, movies to watch and stuff, it's quite horrendous. Some of it anyway. So the On the Ranch podcast tends to help me get through the flight a lot better. So shout out to the On the Ranch boys. But let's get into the show, and we're going to talk about Perth to begin with, the Perth trip recap. So, Callan, your journey to Perth was a lot more hectic than mine. Why don't you talk about what the hell happened with your situation?
Yeah, well, I left Cairns. Well, I left my house about, I think it was close to 5:15. I ordered an Uber. It turned up in about 2 minutes, when it said it'd be at my door in about 25 minutes. So I got to the Cairns airport, present my details to get my onboard ticket, and I got the strangest look from the girl, and I had such a sinking feeling that I was just, my first thought in my mind was, how much is this going to cost me to get to Perth now? And she said to me, there is no plane to Perth. And I'm like, what? And she went over, and like, I'm a bit of an angry bloke, for people that don't know me, I lose my shit. And I didn't say a word. This lady got up. She was quite pregnant. She went over to a guy, and I sort of shuffled over there, and I said, what's going on, man? And he goes, don't worry, mate, we'll get you there. And as soon as he said those words, I was put at ease. I had to get on a plane to Melbourne. I was in Melbourne for a couple of hours. So it ended up, by the time I arrived at my accommodation in Perth, it was a 14-hour trip. And I left Perth at 1:40 Perth time, and I got home at midnight Sunday. So she was a big round of trip. And I think we spoke about my travel dramas for the last game that I went to. I'm about to lose my license. So we've worked out the key to a victory is for Callan to have travel dramas. I was going to go home via Darwin just so I could circumnavigate Australia. But I'm running out of ideas, boys. So, you'll have to put nails in me tyres or something for the Titans game.
So you went Perth to Melbourne, which was a 3-hour flight?
4-hour flight, I think.
4-hour flight, and you get to Melbourne. How long did you have to wait in Melbourne until you were on the flight to Perth?
It was only about a bit over 2 hours.
Okay, so 2-hour layover, and then Melbourne to Perth, I imagine, is about a 4-hour flight.
Yeah.
Or was it further than that? 5 hours.
What time did we leave Perth? Bit after 2. Yeah, I think
Far
it
out.
was about 4 or 5 hours. And then by the
Oh,
time we got the train into the city,
in Perth,
which I
yep.
worked out, I probably could have got a train a lot closer to my accommodation. But this guy I was sitting next to, he said, "Come with me. I'll show you the ropes," and took me into the train station, which was a better experience anyway, really,
Yeah, right.
to have a look. I've never been to Perth, and that's one of if any of you do watch my channel, it's a lot of it's about me and my quest to go to every stadium in the world that holds rugby league, and preferably the Cowboys. So
Yeah.
that was just an opportunity to fulfil my quest, and the bonus is I get to see another part of Australia. A lot of people
Mm.
at work say to me, "Geez, you go to a lot of effort to go and watch football, and I ain't got much else going on in my life." So.
Not much else is going on. Well, that's a fantastic journey. As for my journey, nothing like yours, but I left my house on when was it Thursday morning at 3 a.m. Got up to the Gold Coast by I think it was 4:45 in the morning. I got to the Gold Coast airport, so it wasn't too long. I I had to fly Gold Coast to Sydney at 6 a.m. Got to Sydney around 7:15 in the morning, whatever it was, and then I had about 4 hours until I had 4 hours to waste. So then I went and got some breakfast, sort of just kick back, take it easy. I had breakfast. Then funny enough, I saw the Sydney Roosters at the airport. Funny enough,
Oh yeah,
they were heading up to Brisbane for the Broncos game the next day, so they were heading up there. I got a photo with Dominic Young. I saw him. Um, I, Unfortunately, I didn't see Chad Townsend because I dropped him. I wanted to get a photo with Chad, but he was nowhere to be seen. And yeah, so my flight was like 11:50. Got on the flight, head over to Perth. 4.5 hours on the plane. I've never flown. I've never been on a flight that long. 4.5 hours. I was starting to lose it. I was actually starting to lose it on the plane, but lucky we landed when we did. And by the time I got to Perth, I was buggered. I wanted to go to bed. So that's pretty much what I did. Just sat back and enjoyed it and had a good time over there. It was great, Perth. Really enjoyed it. It took me a few days to get over the bloody jet lag though. Like it was about 6 hours worth of travel for the whole day, really. But I was tired. I just wanted to go to sleep.
yeah. Well, I've flown to the Philippines with a layover in Singapore for 12 hours.
Oh, jeez.
And that's what it felt like, that I was going to another country.
It bloody might as well. Perth might as well be another country at this rate. So far
Yeah.
away.
And it seems so different, like the police got slightly different coloured clothes, their cop cars look a
Yeah.
little bit different. Just had and the amount of foreigners working in the airport, just going through, like coming back, it
Yeah.
just felt like I was somewhere else.
Yeah, it did feel a bit weird, didn't it? Yeah. Oh, I will say Perth it is a fantastic city. Um, I'll definitely go back there if the Cowboys play there again in the future. And the other thing I want to mention about Perth as well, Callum, how about the Cowboys Bay? It was absolutely packed to the rafters. You couldn't get a seat in there, and even the bays next to us, Bay 111, Bay 109, they were full of Cowboys fans as well. It was an incredible turnout, and I mean, obviously, I got the crowd going with the Cowboys chant and whatnot, but the turnout was unbelievable. It really was.
Yeah, it was the atmosphere created by all those fans, and I tried to I don't know if we've got some new viewers because I put them onto your channel and our podcast. So if any of yous are watching, just absolute. I got a few selfies with a few fans and and then the pictures that we got with some of the South fans and just everyone was so good, like the harmony of rugby league was really alive and well, it was the absolute fabulous stadium, mate. The weather was beautiful. You couldn't ask for much more, and getting a victory just really put the icing on the cake.
Well, if there are some brand new viewers that are from Perth watching this, leave a comment down below and just let us know. But the thing that impressed me, Callan, was like if you think like you look at it right. The Cowboys are based up in Townsville, up there in North Queensland, and the turnout in Perth, and we have a lot of fans in Perth. Like I did not know we had that many fans over in Perth. It was quite incredible.
Yeah, it was funny because there was a guy when I was, looking for my flight and there was none. And there's a guy with a Cowboy shirt on and I'm looking at him going, well, I must be in the right place.
Yeah.
He was going to Melbourne. And then on the way home from Brisbane, there was another Cowboy. He had a Cowboy backpack on and I went, oh, I love your backpack. And he goes, oh, thanks. And I go, did you go to the game too? And he's like looking at me like, what?
Yeah, pretty incredible, isn't it? Yeah, no, well, I must say, Perth, I really hope the Cowboys play there again next year or whatever, because with all due respect to the other teams that went over there, Manly, the Rabbitohs, and the Sharks, none of them were even close to as loud as we were. Like, we were absolutely echoing loud. I went back and I rewatched the game, and you can hear the Cowboys chant multiple times on the TV. Like, it's pretty incredible. Now, I will say the Rabbitohs fan base, I could hear them a little bit from where we were. They were quite loud in certain parts as well, but there was nothing like there was no fan base that was even close to as loud as we were on the weekend. And I know there were a lot of South fans there, so there might have been more South fans than us. But holy shit, the turnout between us and Souths was pretty insane.
Yeah, it had like such a magic round sort of feel about it. When I was coming into the stadium, guys with Western red shirts on, and
that was insane, wasn't it?
I really hope they get a team because I would love to go there, every year, if we're playing there.
Yeah, I'd go again for sure. I think I would plan my journey a bit better than having to do 2 flights. And obviously, I think you would want to just do the 1 flight as well. But a few people actually messaged me and I said, Nick, how come you're not going from Brisbane? It was $200 cheaper to go from Sydney. So I'm saving a bit of money here.
Yeah.
Saving a few dollars. But you're right. Perth need a team. They need a team. They have a stadium over there. Obviously, they won't use Optus Stadium. They do have a ground there called HBF Park, which used to be called Nib Stadium. It's a rugby league ground, and that's where they can play their games. And I think they would get crowds. I think they really would with the time zone as well. If I was scheduling the Perth team, I would try and have them on Sundays a lot of the time, so you get that. Say it's a 4 o'clock kickoff in Perth, but 6 o'clock back over here. So we got Sunday night football to watch, or if it's say it's a 5 o'clock kickoff in Perth or 6 o'clock, it's like 7, 8 o'clock over here. So it works out with the time zone as well.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Saturday and Sundays would be the best time for Perth to play, but just because of the time zone. But fingers crossed that they do get a team, because I think it'd be great for the game to have a team in Perth.
Yeah, I think I'd go for a week next time.
I think I would as well. I'd go for. Well, I think I went for I went over there Thursday, come back Saturday night. I'd literally go over there for 4 days if I
Four or
went.
5 days, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So much to do that,
There's a lot
just
over there.
because my Facebook feed was, how it knows where you are, and it was just saying
Yeah,
all these things to do in Perth.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the game itself. Cowboys beat Souths 24-16. Well, we said before it was a very grindy type of game. It was a gritty game. Obviously, there was a bit of attack in the last 15 minutes where the game opened up a little bit, but before that, the first 50 minutes of the game, it was 10 all something for a while. It was fairly fairly low scoring. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Callan, but all of the media outlets, Channel 9, Fox Sports, and a couple of other radio stations and whatnot, they're not talking about how the Cowboys have won 3 in a row. They're not talking about how we've done well to come back from where we were when we were 0-3. They're talking about the bad call against Jack Whiten. Now, I agree that it was a terrible decision. The Jack Whiten hip drop should never have been a penalty. It was a disgraceful call. Even our own coach Todd Payton come out and said it was a bad decision. But it is what it is. We can't sugarcoat it. I think we were starting to get on top anyway, but it was a bad call, wasn't it, Callum?
Yeah, yeah. Like when we get decisions go against us, you don't often hear me go on about referee decisions because to me, like to be better, in anything in life, you always look at what you can change. I was listening to the Scott Sattler interview, and I've got this, through my journey of recovery. The only thing you can change in life is yourself. You cannot change anyone else. So if you cry about bad decisions, to me, the first place you look at is how many tackles you missed, how many
Yeah.
errors, because you can change that. We can change, so if and I'm sure Wayne Bennett would have the same attitude. He wouldn't be talking about referee decisions. He'd be saying, well, if we didn't do this, if we didn't drop the ball, if we didn't, miss this tackle, we probably win, And my mate, he's a Roosters supporter, and he loves crying about referee decisions. And I just think it's a pointless exercise because you cannot change that. It was like he was put in an awkward position. I don't think it was bad enough, and but the amount of bad decisions that we get, and when another team gets it, I just go, well, that's just bad luck.
Yeah, look, when it comes to bad decisions, like the Jack Whiten one, I mean, look, we've caught more bad calls in the game than any other club. Look at all the finals robberies we copped, and obviously one against Parramatta a couple of years ago. Do I think the Jack Whiten hip drop penalty, whatever they want to call it, do I think it cost Souths the game? No, because they did not defend the next set. But look, it's tough because if that call was against us, we'd be blowing up just like the Rabbitohs. Would be
Yeah,
blowing
but
up.
I'd have the same opinion, because
Yeah,
like if we did lose the game, it would have been on our errors. It wouldn't have had nothing to do with referee decisions.
no, you're right. You're
Because
right.
you can fix, like I said, you can fix errors. You will
Yeah,
never be able to get a referee to always call the right call. And that's why, when we do win by tight scores, we're really putting ourselves in that position to lose a game because we've only got to get one bad decision, and then we all cry about it.
Yeah.
But we don't often look back at our own shortcomings of what we did wrong. And like I said, because you can fix that.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, have a look at last week. When we played Penrith, how many bad calls went against us in that last 10 minutes? The Nathan Cleary line break where he hit the ground, was tackled, offload the ball. Referee said play on. Next tackle. Paul Alamotti goes over in the corner, but his foot in the touch, which ends up being a no try. Like, we nearly got a decision nearly cost us the game against Penrith last week. But we had a very dodgy decision go our way against the Rabbitohs. Obviously, we'll take it. Obviously, not the way you want to win with a bad call like that. But at the end of the day, I think South's errors cost them the game. I think they had 14 errors in the game. And the Jackson Purdue try, the first one, where he went straight through and the two South defenders just sort of jammed into each other, and I think it was fatigue. Obviously, momentum came to the Cowboys, but
well,
it was
when that guy, what's his name? He dropped when Dearden forced the error. He was pretty close to the try line.
Sean Kepi, it might have been.
Yeah, like that. That was a good tackle. To me, why we won the game was because of those two Dearden tackles that forced an error.
They were big plays. And then obviously, go on.
That's why we won. It's because of that putting your body on the line and coming up with, because he's only a little bloke and he forced an error on two big guys, and that could have simply just, slipped off that tackle, and, we're probably talking about a whole different result.
Yeah. Look, I'll say this. If you're a South fan out there, you've got every right to be upset with the Jack Whiten penalty. Did it cost South the game? I don't think it did. Did it kill the momentum of the Rabbitohs? It probably did. But you got to remember that bad decision that went against the Rabbitohs. They were leading the game at that point. I think it was 10-6. They were in front. So a bad decision went against them. They were unable to defend the bad decision because we put a grubber kick in for Sam McIntyre to level the game. But end of the day, I think we were the better team anyway. Like, I really do. In the first half, like, we opened South up so many times, but we kept dropping the ball when we were, close to scoring. And second half, the same thing happened again. We opened South up so many times, but we kept dropping the friggin' ball and dumb shit was happening. Like, fair income, if we had been better with our ball handling, we could have won this game by more than 8. But it didn't happen. We won by 8. It's a win that we needed to get. South Sydney are a very good side, I will say. I'm looking forward to playing them next year because obviously we don't play them again this year unless we meet in the finals. But Souths are a great opponent, and it was a great game of footy.
To add to what I said, Dearden's, I think Dearden's probably arguably, week in, week out, one of our best players.
Oh, yeah.
And Latrell, is not South Sydney's where he should be. He's got that ability. And I'll tell you what, to me, that's why if South fans are watching this, you've lost because of him. For his ability, if you're do you want to compare him to Greg Inglis? If Greg Inglis was wearing that jersey, which he has before, mate, it's got to be a lot closer game and a lot harder game. He hardly run the ball. When the game's in the balance, you want your big names to stand up, and ours did. A la bloody did, and those two true try savers, dislodging the ball, getting the ball back. That's where the momentum really turned around for us, I reckon, because you get on the back of that. That momentum, that self-belief. When a little guy pulls off a big tackle like that, and it just puts the wind in your sail. And to me, I wouldn't be crying about referee's decision. I'd be crying about why my star player didn't stand up.
I think Latrell was okay on the weekend. Obviously, probably didn't do enough. He did kick well, but I mean, he didn't have much help. Jaden Sullivan at halfback was pretty bad. Latrell's kick, he kicked well. I'll say that. He kicked well. Probably didn't run the ball enough, but I thought he was all right. I don't think it was horrible. I think there were other players that could have done a lot more for the Rabbitohs, like the halfback didn't do a whole lot. Jack Whiten was a little bit quiet, but
what I'm basing it on is how good the bloke can be.
Oh, it can be any. Like Latrell can be good.
I'm not saying he had a terrible game.
Yeah.
But if Dearden doesn't have quiet games.
Yeah, that's right.
If you could remind me of a game where we go, like I said, I wish he'd run a little bit more. But, when the whole team's not playing that well and you're trying to do everything, like sometimes I think the only thing I could put an X against Dearden is because he tries too hard.
Yeah, no, you're right. You got a point. Well, it was a tough win. It was one that we needed. We go into a bye now and a well-deserved week off for the boys. Let's get to our top three players from the game. Obviously, 3, 2, 1, with one being the best. I would say, for me, number 3, I'll go with Sam McIntyre for number 3. Thought he was outstanding on the weekend once again. Number 2, Tom Dearden. He had a great game. And number 1, I've got to go Jackson Purdue for player of the game. Purdue was insane on the weekend. What about you, Callan? Your 3, 2, 1s.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be the same, but I'll put Dearden at the top. I reckon.
Yeah.
Those tackles, his ball movements. He created that play for Purdue. So I'd go McIntyre, Purdue, Dearden. I'm
going to change. Tamalolo needs to be in there. He had 200 meters. All right, I'm going to take out McIntyre. I'll go number 3, Tom Dearden. Number 2, Tamalolo. Number 1, Purdue. Tamalolo was insane on the weekend.
And I'd give what's the other award? The mention. I'd give that to Harrison.
The honourable mention.
Honourable mention. I'd give it to Harrison Edwards.
Yes, Harrison Edwards, 100%. He had So Harrison Edwards come in and played 22 minutes, ran for 88 meters in that 22-minute period, and he had 11 tackles and none missed. And last week against Penrith, he played 40 minutes and he made about 25 tackles and missed none. Actually, no, 30 tackles, sorry. He had 30 tackles and missed 0. So essentially, Harry Edwards has made 41 tackles in a row.
Yeah, I'd keep him in the side if I was the coach.
I would as well.
I think he deserves to be there. He's Mr. Reliable.
Problem is, who the hell do you leave out? Because obviously,
I'd leave Bateman out.
Oh, that's understandable.
I'd have Nanai starting and I'd have Harrison Edwards on the bench. And I think we miss absolutely nothing with those changes.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah, okay. I'm going to have a think about who I would leave out because I think Edwards needs to be there as well. Maybe, and it's going to sound harsh, maybe Kai O'Donnell misses out.
Yeah,
I don't
I'd
know what
keep
your
him.
thoughts. I
I
don't know.
just
It's
think
tough.
Kai O'Donnell's is going to be a star of the future.
He is. He is. My honourable mention: Reece Robson. Best game of that was his best game of the year.
Yeah, he had some
Easily.
good runs. That little chip kick, which when he kicked it, what are you doing? And then he scored it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
McIntyre straight there, bang.
good on you,
Tried to
brother.
on you. Good on you, Robbo. All right. Let's get into. So obviously now we've won 3 in a row. We were 0-3. Now we've won 3 in a row. We've got Titans in 2 weeks, or next weekend, I should say, up in Townsville. What do you think's been the biggest change since obviously we're 0-3? Now we're 3-3. What do you think's been the biggest change since obviously the bad start to the year?
Well, I think defence, obviously, we're still leaking a few points, but nothing like the first 2 games where we just looked like, we're going to be wooden spoon. I knew we weren't, when we've played bad all year, my son's rang me up. Oh, who do you think's going to win? And I go, Cowboys. And he goes, oh, yeah, but who do you really think's going to win? And I go, Cowboys. That's what I honestly believe. I'm a bit one-eyed, but when you go to I bet you don't travel all over bloody Australia thinking you're going to fucking lose, do you?
No.
So I think the biggest thing that's changed for us is, we're finding a bit more rhythm in attack. And the great thing is there's a way, the polish that I think that we're capable of is coming. And the defence, our attitude in defence has been, second to none, I reckon.
Yeah, I think it's just I think it's the effort areas, like not giving up on the ball when it's on the ground, not allowing the other teams to dominate us in the forward pack. Like the Broncos game is where it all turned. I think obviously we didn't beat the Broncos, and everyone was really pissed off with the Broncos game. I was furious with the way we lost that game. I can't stand losing to them. But you could see that we were a much different team compared to the first 2 rounds. And obviously the Canberra game, we got that win, and the momentum and the belief in the group has just changed. And defensively, I think everyone's putting in more effort. Like we conceded 18 to Penrith, which is not bad. 16 to the Rabbitohs. How much did we concede to the Raiders? Would have been 20 something?
Yeah, I think it wasn't that much. I think it was similar.
20. So
yeah.
Defensively, we've gotten a lot better the last 3 weeks. Obviously, I would like to keep teams to 12 to 16 points, but I obviously defense has gotten a lot better, and it's what we need to see. It's what you want to see. So, pretty pleased with how things have been going the last couple of weeks.
And like I said, I can just see. I even said to Peyton, a few years ago when we went on that run, and I said to him, which is similar to what's going on now. We were winning. We were, that attitude, like you said, the effort areas, were so good. But I said to Peyton, I said I don't think we're playing our best football yet. And he said, yeah, me too. And I just said, I can't wait, till we're clicking like 100%, when we're just, because like this is, this team is, a lot of different positions the last year, and, we lost a couple of key players. So
yeah,
I just feel like we're just growing, in those new combinations at Purdue just, seems to be, even Billy Slater give him a big rap. I think he'll probably be in the Origin squad. I don't think he'll play, but I think he'll be in the
You reckon?
extended squad.
Really? You reckon he'll make the Origin squad this year?
The extended squad, yeah.
I don't think he should even go anywhere near Origin right now. I really not yet. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I think.
Well, they do that. You know, Billy,
they tend to do
the
it.
Queensland team has done it every year where guys might be a couple of years away from playing, but they just get around the camp. You know, I don't think they end up missing games. So I think Dearden was there before he got to play. You know, they just get around the you know, what it's all about and
in the
give
squad
them
and all
something
that.
sort of to play towards, you know, that, you know, you've been noticed, you know. If he doesn't get picked in it, I reckon he'll be getting a phone call from Billy saying, "You keep doing what you're doing, mate, and you'll be in the extended squad next year."
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Like I think the best thing for Jackson Purdy, because the kid's like 19 still, is very young. I think Billy Slater gives him a call and says, "You keep doing what you're doing, you'll be in this bloody squad within a year." And let him play the entire year out in the centers and just let him become a young prospect, a young star. And then next year, if he's playing like this again, I have no doubt Billy will pick him. No doubt. I just don't think right now is the right time to put him in. I think, a bit like you said, maybe put him in the squad, get him in the camp, get him to experience what it's all about. But I would not let him play Origin right now. I think maybe just I'd give it a year. I think I'd give it a year.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
just,
No, he won't be in the 17.
no.
He won't be in the 17, but, you know, next year, the year after, I reckon he'll be like a Kalen Ponga 14.
Yeah, I reckon next year he'll definitely be in the side. I really do. I really do. All right, moving on. Moving on. And I want to talk to you about this, and I've got to change it because I've had a brain explosion here with this stupid friggin' damn thing. There we go. Who should replace Robson in 2026? Now, obviously, we knew Robson was leaving back in February. We're getting closer to, you know, we're currently in April at the moment. We're getting closer towards Magic Round. We're not exactly sure who's going to be the hooker. We've got a couple of young guys coming through. We got that Xavier Kurzik fella. We got Kyle Lawton who can play 9. Harrison Edwards can play number 9. There's talk that we're looking at Billy Walters maybe as a 9. Tom Starling is potentially a chance as well coming up to Townsville. What would you do, Callum? Obviously, we do have the money to go get somebody, and I think we will probably buy someone. But what would you do here with next year with Robson leaving?
Well, it's an unpopular call of mine, but I'd actually like to see Cotter go back to hooker. Harrison Edwards
Cotter to
in
9.
13. Yeah.
Oh.
And that's probably not going to happen because, like I said, it's a very unpopular. Like, you know, do you think he was a bad hooker when he was playing hooker?
No, but I think he's a way better player now that he's playing middle.
Yeah, fair enough. But again, I don't think he was a bad hooker. I actually think he was a really good hooker.
Yeah,
You know, when
wasn't
he
bad.
played for that Indigenous side that year,
Yeah.
I just saw shades of Cameron Smith. You know, it was just the way that he organised stuff. He's got good eyes. He's, you know, he tackles his ass off. It's not going to happen. So I'd go Billy Walters. If I couldn't convince everyone to put Cotter there, I'd say go Billy Walters.
Well, Billy Walters, I'm very confident he'll be in Townsville next year because the Broncos have got Ezra Mann to come back from his suspension. They've got Ben Hunt still there. They've got that Corey Pakes fellow who's been going good for him at 9 at the moment. That Tyson Smoothie fella's going over to England next year. Billy Walters is the one that's going to be left out. And I don't think he wants to leave Queensland. So it makes a lot of sense for him to come up to Townsville. Makes a lot of sense. The Dolphins have got their hooker situation sorted out. The Titans, I think they've got theirs sorted out as well. But Billy Walters may not be Reece Robson, and it is a massive downgrade with all due respect. Robson's the hooker for New South Wales. Billy Walters is nowhere near that level. But I think go buy Billy Walters on a cheap deal, and then we've got this young Xavier Kurzik fella coming through. Bring him into the side next year. Let him develop like we're seeing at the moment with Jackson Purdue. And start Billy at 9 and bring this Xavier Kurzik fella off the bench and just have that rotation. That would be the way to do it. I think that would work out all right. And look, Billy Walters has had one great year of NRL. You go back to 2023 when the Broncos made the grand final. He had a very solid year that year. So I don't think Billy would cost a lot of money to get, and it would probably be a good fit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Billy's a bit underrated, to be honest. I can see a lot of potential in that bloke.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's been to the Storm, he's been to the Tigers, been to the Broncos. I think he would fit in well up in Townsville.
And he's got, a lot of ability, like he can play in the halves,
Yeah, he can.
You want him at hooker, but, to me, a halfback, a 5'8", is someone who's got to have a lot of, vision, running. He's got a good kick on him. He's pretty good in defence. I can see, I can see a lot of potential in that bloke.
He goes all right. I think it would be. I think it'd be quite decent. I really do. But we'll see what happens. We'll have to wait and see. All right, we'll get to the tips, and then we'll do the blind rankings, and then we'll get to a few fan questions. So obviously, the Cowboys have got the bye, but let's get to the tips for the weekend. So tomorrow night's game is at Brookvale Oval in Sydney. It's Manly taking on the Dragons. This is a tough game to call, I reckon.
Where is it?
Brookvale Oval, the place you went to in round 1. The cesspit known as Brookvale.
Don't remind me. Fuck you. No, I think Manly will get up.
Yeah, I think Manly will win as well. I think Manly will win. But who knows? Who knows? On to Good Friday, the public holiday. The Bulldogs and the Rabbitohs from Accor Stadium, they're expecting about 74,000 fans to attend this game. It's almost sold out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge, huge atmosphere down there. What do you reckon about this one? Bulldogs and the Rabbitohs.
I think Bulldogs will continue their winning way.
I think Bulldogs will win too. But hey, Wayne Bennett coached teams like the Rabbitohs. You just never know. But I think Bulldogs will win as well. The other game on Friday night, Dolphins and the Storm from Suncorp Stadium.
I'm going to go with an upset. I'm going to go the Dolphins.
Ooh, I'll go the Storm. But Dolphins are playing a lot better than what they were 3 weeks ago. Warriors and the Broncos on Saturday over there in New Zealand. Warriors are missing Fisher Harris and a few others.
Who's coming in for Fisher?
Jackson Ford.
I'll go the Warriors.
I'll go the Broncos and that one to bounce back. The other game on Saturday night from Allianz Stadium in Sydney, it's the Roosters and the Panthers.
Jeez, it's a weird draw, isn't it? They're playing each other again.
Oh, sure. I'm going Panthers. I have to win.
I'll go on Roosters.
I'll go Panthers, but who the hell knows? Sunday, 2 o'clock on the Gold Coast, the Titans take on the Raiders. I think Raiders will continue their winning ways here.
Yeah, I think the Raiders.
But if it's going to be an upset, this could be the game. Titans could upset them, but I think Raiders will win that one. The other game on Sunday, the Knights and the Sharks from Newcastle. I think Sharks win and win well.
Yeah, I think the Sharks.
And Easter Monday, West Tigers versus Parramatta Eels. Mitchell Moses back for the Eels. Galvin drop for the Tigers. I'm going to go Parramatta here with Moses back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Parramatta, but I think it's going to be a very close game.
I think it'll be very close as well. All right, let's get to some blind rankings. Blind rankings. Not sure why you're writing great live stream, Luke. The stream's still on, brother. Still a bit to go. Still a bit to get through. All right. Blind rankings. So this will be good. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago we started this. It was episode 8 we started doing this, and it was a lot of fun. I asked Callan to rank 5 Cowboys players without knowing who comes next, and it was an interesting list to say the least. And then obviously last week Callan did the same to me. So now it's my turn to ask him to rank these 5 Cowboys players without knowing who comes next. Are you ready, Callan?
Well, I'm ready, mate.
All right. First one on the list, Brent Tate.
Ooh.
Where would you rank Brent Tate?
3.
Number 3 for Brent Tate. Okay. Gavin Cooper.
Ooh. Fuck. 2.
Oh, okay. 2 for Coops. All right. Next one. Ash Graham.
4.
Oh, okay. So you got 2 left and you've left 1 and 5. So this is going to be good. The next one on the list, Ty Williams.
Oh, do you gonna fucking throw 5 at me? I'll go 1.
Oh, 1 for Ty Williams, which means number 5 is Jason Tamalolo.
Oh, I thought it had to be a retired player.
No, I don't know. I was just going random this week. Tamalolo, number 5. All right, so your list is 5 Tamalolo, 4 Ash Graham, 3 Brent Tate, 2 Gavin Cooper, 1 Ty Williams.
Yeah, I probably would have swapped Ty and Jason.
Yeah. All right, very good. Very good. Obviously, your turn to ask me next week.
Yeah, because I've been picking all retired players.
All right. Next week, we'll just do that. We'll do retired players next week. That way, we sort of know, because I actually didn't have a clue how we're doing it this week. All right, fan questions. There are quite a few to get to. We'll try to get to a couple of them. There's a few fan questions here. First one comes from Hamish. Hamish_Barnes08. He asked, will we see Braden Burns in the starting side when he comes back from injury? So Braden Burns actually came back to Queensland Cup on the weekend, and he played quite well. Would you bring him in next week over Robert Derby, or would you keep Robert Derby?
I'd keep Derby.
That's tough. You know what? I think until we see a bad game from Robert Derby, I'm with you. I think we have to keep Robert Derby in the team.
Like it's
All right,
good.
next question.
Like to me, it's good to know that Braden Burns, because we know how good he is.
Yeah.
And if we need him, like there's no doubt, boom, we've got a great player there ready to go.
Yeah, no doubt. Next question comes from Bowden86. Should the Cowboys sign Tom Starling for next year when Robbo leaves? I mean, we already spoke about the hooker thing before, but would you take Tom Starling from Canberra?
Well, he's a good player.
He's quick too.
I probably would.
I would as well. Next question from actually, funny enough, one of my best mates, Luther King. Would you like to see Jackson Purdue move to 5'8" in the future and Tom Dearden to halfback? I can see that happening in like a year or two. I can see that. But I think Purdy's playing too good in the centers. I think you just got to leave him out there.
Well, he's naturally a halfback, isn't he?
Yeah, apparently, from what I understand.
My prediction is, or my wish, it's like I have a lot of wishes that no one else sees my vision. But like I would have Purdue, if Clifford's unavailable, I would have Purdue, in a heartbeat over what's the other fella's name?
Tom Duffy.
Duffy. Yeah, I'd have Purdue over Duffy.
I think, obviously Jack Clifford's off contract, so we don't really know what's going to happen there. I think he'll re-sign for another year, but I think Purdue long term could be the halfback with Dearden at 6. Like that could be the long term thing. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I do. He's very, he looks effortless.
Yeah, he does.
He's running, and then you think, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden, he's through.
I wouldn't even mind the idea of maybe putting Drinkwater to 5'8", Dearden a halfback, and Purdue to fullback. Like I wouldn't even mind that idea. I could see that happening at some point. I could see that.
I think I'd prefer for him to, Drinky's good out the back.
Yeah.
And that's Purdue's position,
Yeah.
But I thought he sometimes, he dropped a few balls there. I don't know I think it might have been the year before.
Yeah, you're right.
I've seen him, some of those, big bombs, he looked a bit uncomfortable to me.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, no, he's got to be there, that Purdue, mate. He's a freak.
He's got it all. All right. Well, that might just about do it, I reckon. Callan, it's been a fantastic show. Appreciate you as always. And next time I see you, will actually be Magic Round in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We're on Magic Round. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching the podcast. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and make sure you subscribe to Callan's channel as well. Check out the vlog that I posted on the weekend, and check out Callan's vlog as well on his channel. They're very good, so check them out. Anyway, before we go,
stay safe, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone. Cowboys.
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 All right, guys. We're out of here. Oh, shit. When I smack. Cowboys. Let's go.
Cowboys.
Let me turn the damn stream off. End the stream.